Alright, hi everybody. Okay, so today we're just gonna cover like how to create some of the models that was tasked to you 2 days ago. Right, so from the feedback I got, I can see that majority wants to see how model number 9 is done. And pretty much every other model, someone want to see how it's done as well. So I'm thinking we'll model from model number 9 all the way back down to the first one. Right, so let's take a look. And model number 9 is kind of like this. And what I will say, right, is to identify the various parts of it. Okay. Right. So basically I can see that this is a straight part, this is a slanted, straight, slanted. So for all the slanted part, right, actually I will do a extrude and scale inwards. Okay. So before I start, let me fire up my key display. Alright. Okay, so we'll tackle all this. So we'll start off with a cube, a small flat cube. Okay, then after that we'll try to build up the pillar from there. So this is kind of like the first cube. So we want to go to face mode, then we want to press G and then Z to bring it down. Okay, so we got our first part already. So the next part we want to do is to extrude upwards. Okay, then we want to kind of scale it inwards as well. Okay, so if let's say it's too sensitive, you may want to press down Control and then shift it. So it's a kind of a bit too thick, so I'll shift it down by pressing G and then Z again and kind of bring it down. Okay, so I'll try, then I will extrude again. I'll kind of move upwards. Okay, then let's take a look at the reference again. So now we are going inwards. Okay, so gonna extrude again, then we're gonna set it scale down. Uh, mm, okay, maybe like that. Then gonna bring it a bit lower. Okay, then we're gonna scale up all the way. Okay, so this is the longish part. Okay, then we're gonna scale outwards again after we extrude. So we're gonna extrude first, then we scale outwards. Okay, press S to scale outwards. Then gonna extrude up again, and this is pretty narrow, so we're gonna bring it down a little. Pressing G and then Z again, and we're gonna extrude upwards again, and finally scaling it inwards again. Okay, so this is kind of like the rough shape that we have for our pillar. Okay, so let's at least get it level. So we're gonna select this, select all the faces by pressing A and moving them outwards. Okay. Alright. So with that done, the next part is to build all the little details that the indentation are. So for those, it's pretty simple. You can actually use inset and stuff. Right. So if you want, you can press all of the faces. Okay. Then you can press I for inset shortcut. Okay. Okay. So if you see, right, this is kind of not working. So okay. Then we gotta do it the other way. So kind of like face by face. So you press I, then you gotta shift it inwards. Right. And maybe somewhere about here. So if you do see, right, there's this thing over here, just in case you being blocked. So there's actually this thickness and stuff. So basically we want to define this by a number so that we can do it at least same for all the other sides. Okay, so let's just do 1.5 for everywhere. Okay, so we're gonna do the same, press I and then press 1.5. Oops. Maybe scale it in first. Wait a minute. Okay, press I again, bring it in, make sure the value is 0.15. Okay, so just do the same for all the four sides. Okay, press I again, bring it in, make sure it's 0.15. Okay, so the same for this side, press I, bring it in. Right, I mean there's a probably faster way, but I feel that this is the most straightforward way. Then for the rest, right, actually to push it in, especially is to extrude and just bring it in. Right, so again I can see the number. So for this, let's just put 0.1. Oops, negative 0.1, my bad. So negative 0.1. Okay, so all the same for every other side. So we're gonna extrude. Then gonna put negative 0.1. Okay, and same for this side, extrude inwards, negative 0.1. And the last side, press extrude, then push inwards, then negative 0.1. Okay, so this is kind of like how you build the details. And what other details you have? So it's pretty much similar, so we can do for all. So I can click on the face, same thing, press inset, sorry, then bring it in, then this is gonna be 0.15. Okay, so we're gonna do all the same. We can try to do multiple again. So press I, then bring it in. It doesn't look to be doing too well. Right, so nah. Okay, so this is kind of not what we want. Okay, so let's undo them. Okay. And before we do anything, just double check if we are not having any double faces hiding behind each other. Alright, so yeah, so let's just go back to building our details. So again, I for inset and 0.15, then the other side as well. So press I, right, inset, then 0.15, then the last side, I, then inset 0.15, okay. Right, so now we can do the extruding, which is to push the part inwards. Okay, so we'll do the same. We'll do it I think negative 0.1. Okay, so we'll do the same for all sides. So extrude again, then negative 0.1. Okay, so if you want shortcut, right, you can press E. Okay, and then you can press, because you want to extrude in the Z axis, right? Then you can press Z once. Then you can press negative 0.1. Oh, wrong. Okay, my bad. Okay, it's alright then. Okay, okay, so there's no more extrude. So let's extrude again. Then let's try 0.1 again. Negative 0.1. And I think the last part. Okay, extrude. Okay, and finally the top part. So same thing, insert first. So same thing, we're gonna insert by 0.15, 0.1. Okay, so same for all four sides. So the shortcut is just to press I and then type 0.1. Oh, so that will be by default. Okay, then after that we can extrude inwards. So we can type press Z. No. Okay, 0.1. Negative. Okay, so do the same. So E to extrude. Then negative 0.1. Then again. And one last time. Okay, E to extrude. And then final one. Okay, so yeah, so that's kind of you get that pillar that was in the example. Of course, the its extrusion is a bit deeper, but it's okay. So long you get the idea of the tools is good enough. Right, so now I'm gonna move this whole object to the other side. So I'm gonna select object mode. Then I'm gonna maybe move in the press G to move, and then in the X direction. Okay, so if you want a specific position, you can actually key in, let's say maybe negative 25. Okay, so now we have pillar done. Let's call it pillar. Or maybe let's say model 9 lah. Okay, model number 9. Right, so model number 9 is done. So moving up. Okay, so model number 8. So model number 8 is kind of like made up of two parts, which is a half sphere and a cone, right? So basically we need to create two objects, two meshes lah. Then we kind of merge them together. So we'll use the merge vertex tool, which is alternate M, to merge the vertices together. Okay, so coming back to here, so being in the object mode, we'll create another what we want. Oh, we want the sphere. Right, let's create a mesh sphere. Right, okay. So when you create a sphere, right, there's always a pop-up at the bottom. So you may need to expand, like clicking on the small arrow. Okay, so this will allow you to do some more refinement, like how many segments you want and stuff. Okay, so for this sphere, right, actually I will just use 8 because I don't want to spend too much time merging too many vertices. And with that done, right, okay, I will go on to, let's say, one of the side view. Okay, then I'll go on to wireframe. I will delete half of it. Okay, so I need to go back to edit mode first, faces, then I will select all the faces that is on the top half. Okay, and I'll press delete to delete all the faces. Okay, so now I have my bottom half ready. Okay, that's it. Right, so the next thing is to build the top part, which is the cone. So for cone, right, inside edit mode, right, I can create another object. Okay, basically cone. Right, so same thing again, I can set the number of division, right, to 8. Okay, and now I'll move that upwards. So kind of by default, right, it's already aligned lah. Okay. And to clean things up, right, because this cone itself, right, it has another face below it. Okay, so it has another face. So we would like to delete this face because this face will never be used or seen. So we're not gonna waste time to render this thing. Okay. So with that done, let's go back to wireframe, side view, select the top part, bring it down. Okay. So kind of that. So now we're gonna merge all this in between vertices together. Okay, so basically every point there's two vertex kind of overlapping each other, right? And we're gonna go into vertex mode. Gonna select them. Gonna press Ctrl M, and let's just say merge at the center. Okay, so depending on your needs. Okay, let's not get confused. Okay, I will just do from left to right. Okay, so if you do like more than once, it's fine. You wouldn't die. Control M, alternate M, sorry, and just click on center. Okay, alternate M, center. So as you can see, right, there's shortcut. So when you press alternate M, right, you can actually press A. Okay, so that will actually merge. And to make sure it's already merged, right, you can look at the bottom, the lower part of it. Okay, whereby you see how many vertices are selected. Okay, so let's say I select this, then I can see that. Okay, this one is good. So this is 2. So I'm gonna merge this as well. So merge to center, and I think last corner, which is this guy. So this is 2 vertices as well. So I'm gonna merge to center. Okay, so knowing that our shape has 8-sided, right? Okay, we're just gonna do a selection of this part to see, make sure we have 8 vertices. Okay, because we have 8 sides, so naturally we should have 8 vertices. Okay, so with that done, yeah, so this is kind of like number 8. Okay, so again we can move it up a bit. So we go back to, let's say, object mode. Then we're gonna press G, then press Z to move it in the upwards of Z axis. Okay, then we're gonna move towards the other side. Okay, to join the pillar, whereby then we're gonna move along the X axis. So G then X, and then move it over. So maybe somewhere in the negative 20. Right. Okay, so that's our number 8. So moving forward again, number 7. Okay, so number 7, the primary shape itself will look like a sphere. So my idea is to build a sphere, okay, and then build the neck of the vase, the pot, or any sort. Okay, so basically let's do the same thing. Let's go back to object mode. Okay, we are in object mode, and create a new mesh, and let's say sphere again. So 8-sided. Okay, I think we can afford to have a little bit more. Let's just put 16. Okay, so same thing. We're gonna go down to this side view. Okay, probably we want to go into edit mode first and faces. Let's delete kind of like maybe just this top part. Okay, so we'll delete the faces. Okay, so looking at this shape, right, it looks pretty smooth. So actually there's one trick to it, right? It's when you are in object mode, right, you can right click. Then you can select the shading. So you can choose smooth shade. Okay, then you have a kind of like a smoother object. Okay, so it's just the shading. The number of faces, right, is actually still the same. Okay, we are not adding more faces and stuff. Okay, but for working purposes, right, I would prefer to actually do it's okay. Okay, I would prefer to actually use the flat shade first. Okay, then we'll go and edit. So basically now we want to build up this neck, right? So the idea that I have to build up this neck, right, is to select all the edges along the top. Okay, so same thing, we can use the side view and select the edges. Okay, so we now got the top. So again, we're gonna use E to extrude upwards. Oops. Go back wireframe, go back to the side, select the top. Okay. Then we're gonna go back to shading mode. So press E to move upwards. Okay, so again, because I can move around, so I will probably press I would say press G, then Z. Okay, no. Okay, then I press E again. So you want to move upwards, right? Let's just press Z. Okay. So this will give us the neck. Okay. Because there's a lot of shortcuts and stuff, sometimes it's kind of hard to remember. Unless you do it kind of like every day, then you kind of then you will master it. Okay, so making the details of like the protruding side, right? So basically I will again extrude and then scale outwards, okay? And then I will build extrude again, then I'll go upwards. So again, because I'm moving, so I will press Z again to make sure I only move along the Z axis. Then now I want to build into the pot itself. So I will press extrude again and I will scale inwards. Okay, so maybe kind of this way. Make sure we are big enough. And the last step is to extrude again. And we're gonna go down in the Z-axis direction by pressing Z, okay? Right. So this is kind of like our what we have for our pod. Okay, so if we go back edit mode again, object mode, then we go smooth shading, we'll have a smooth pod. Okay, if you want to you want to resize a bit of the pod, it's also possible, right? So so in this object mode, right? Okay, so basically you want to scale from this part inwards. So wire mode, then side view. Okay, we're gonna move it inwards. So we're gonna scale down. Okay, if let's say it's too tall, you can always bring it down. Okay. Then let's go back to shaded mode, see if we have any penetration. So kind of we might have a penetration. Okay. So let's go wireframe, then select faces. Then we're gonna make this inner guy. Oh my god, cannot get it. Where's the inner face? Oh, I think we didn't fill up. So okay, it's just an edge. So we'll have to click on the edges. Okay, so you can press shift and double click the edge. Okay, then we can scale this in as well. Okay, and because there's no face, right, we're gonna press F to just fill it up. Okay, so that our this pot, right, has a surface inside. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so this is kind of like our number 7. Okay, so let's go back to object mode. Side view, make sure it's on the red on the 0 axis of the Z. We're gonna move by G Z. Okay. Oh no, why is the camera moving as well? Okay, G and then Z. Okay. Now we're just gonna move over in the Z axis, so GX, and then move it over. Okay, so let's just key this as -15. Okay. Right, so now we have the 7 done. So the 6 is similar. So this time around, right, we're gonna start with a cylinder and we're gonna extrude. We can either extrude or do a bevel to make it smaller. Okay, let's just start with a cylinder. Then we'll get the basic shape first, and then we'll build in the curvy lines in between. Oh. Okay, so in the object mode, let's create another cube. Another cylinder. Right, so this is our primary shape. So we're gonna build this. We're gonna just position this on the right height first. Oops. Okay, let's create again because I want to work with less mesh. So I create a mesh and a cylinder. Then I'm just gonna reduce maybe this to say, I think 16 is fine. Okay, so move it upwards. Okay, so I will delete the top first by going into edit mode and then face, then delete the top face. Okay, so we're gonna build the primary shape first lah. So what we can do is basically we can select the edge again, similar with the previous one. Right, so we're gonna bring this maybe a little bit down. Okay, then gonna say extrude upwards. Okay, and then scale it inwards. Maybe somewhere like that, or maybe even smaller. Okay, then after that we'll extrude upwards again in the Z axis. Okay, then we'll build the lip of the bottle. So again, we got the extrude upwards. Nah, maybe not. Maybe let's do the same again. Then this time around we'll extrude, but we'll make it wider. Extrude again to make it higher. Then extrude again to make it smaller, scaling inwards. Okay. And again, we're gonna make the inside of it by extruding downwards along the z-axis. Okay. And lastly, we're gonna fill up this the bottle, the end cap. So by pressing F. Okay. So with that done, so basically you got this basic shape. So we're gonna build in the details like all the smoothing part and stuff. So for that, we're gonna use this bevel. Okay. So we're gonna select the edge, the whole round. Then gonna say bevel. So again, when we click on bevel, right? Okay. Apart from pulling, you also have these details. Okay. So again, it's at this bottom corner, left corner. So you may need to look out for it. Okay. So bevel is done. So this part as well. So select the whole rim by pressing pressing Shift and double click, and again by 2. Okay. Likewise, if you see closely, right, actually the bottom is bevel as well. So you're gonna do the same. Okay, so let's do. So for segmenting, let's just all do 2 lah, because you don't want to add too much polygon or faces, because you want your model to be efficient after all, right? So again bevel. So maybe let's have 2, and the bottom part as well. Bevel. Okay, because the bottom part is really little tiny lah, so maybe we don't need to do a segmentation. And lastly is the inner part. So again bevel, and maybe let's do 2 segments. Okay, so go back to model object mode, smooth shading. Okay, you get yourself a nice little bottle. Okay, again we're gonna move this in the x axis, so gx, move along. Maybe this is -10. Okay, so moving back up again. So for this, we'll start with, okay, similar to number 4. So we'll start with a cube and we'll extrude the top. Okay. For this one, maybe we'll do number 4 first, because it's kind of like built off from number 4. Okay. So we'll build number 4 first, then we'll go to number 5. So in object mode, let's create another cube. Okay, so let's position it nicely. GZ. Okay. So now we're gonna build the inner part, which is similar by going to edit mode, the face, extrude upwards, and then making it smaller by scaling down. Okay, then again extrude upwards. Okay, and now we want to build the hole in the top. Okay, so for that we'll do another scale. Extrude, and then we'll scale in. And lastly, right, we'll do another extrude, and this time around we will go in. Okay, right. So this is kind of what we have for our basic shapes. And the next part is to bevel everything basically. Okay, so again we'll go onto the bevel tool, select all the edges. Okay, select edge. Okay, then we'll bevel. So same thing lah, we'll use 2 as well. Okay, the inner part as well. Bevel. Okay, so if let's say it's not too much, then we'll just leave it as it is. We won't need to add more segment. Alright, if you notice the side and the lower half, right, it's also segmented, also beveled. So we'll do the same for them. I think this is not, so I will leave that. Then is the line. Okay, so for this we will try to exclude the inner one. Can we? Okay, let's try to bevel like this first. Okay, then we're gonna do a segment. Okay, right, so this is kind of like what it is lah. Okay, so basically build the basic shapes out, then slowly build in the details. Okay, so I mean subsequently, if you want to refine and stuff, you can always go back to wireframe. Okay, then select the top. You can always make it smaller by scaling it inwards. If it's too tall, you can always press G and Z to make it shorter. Okay, so always build the primary shape first before building in the details. Okay, So this is done for number 4, and I'm gonna duplicate this. Okay, copy and yeah, let's just copy and paste. Okay, and then I'm gonna move it over to in the z-axis. Oops. Hey, where is it, man? Okay, come back to 0. Oops. 0x. Okay, so from here, the next thing is just to build this groove here. Okay, and as well as this groove lah. So basically, this is scaling inwards and this scaling outwards. So to cut these lines, right? Okay, I will use a loop cut to cut the horizontal line. So let's go into edit mode. Then we go to loop cut. Okay. So after you do a loop cut, okay, you can press G and then Z to move it higher or lower. Okay, cut more. GZ again to make it higher. Then cut more and cut again to GZ to make it lower. Okay. So finally, we need one more cut for the bottom base edges. Okay, and that should be it. Okay, so again we have the primary shapes. Okay, so now we want to select all the faces around. And after we select, right, we would like to scale inwards. So actually we can do both for going inwards. So hopefully everything goes well and we save some time. Okay, so to go inwards, okay, we need to give it more details again. So we'll have to extrude once, okay, and we're not gonna move up nor down, okay. Instead, we're gonna scale by pressing S, okay, and we want to go inwards, okay. So if it's too sensitive, right, you can always hold down Control to have more to make it slower, okay. So that is kind of how you do a indentation. As well for the bottom. So for the bottom, instead of scaling down, scaling inwards, we are actually gonna make it bigger. Okay, so to have like a flat base. Okay, so again we want to add more details, so we have to extrude once. Okay, and we're gonna press scale. So we're gonna scale outwards. Okay, maybe just by a little bit, maybe more. Okay, right. So yeah, this looks about right. Okay, so I don't see that there's any bevels or going on. So I will leave it as it is. So I mean the proportion wise is a bit different, but I think it's okay because the whole point here is not really about being really exact with the proportion, but rather practicing the use of like the tools available. Oh man, okay, I should have done 3, 4, 5 work together. Okay, but it's okay. We'll just go back to object mode, quickly add another cube. And we're gonna move it over to the other side. Maybe let's just put 5 for here. Okay, and maybe 0.5 for the Z. It's 1. Okay, so for here, simple. Okay, go into edit mode. So we're gonna do some extrusion. Select the face, extrude upwards, scale down, extrude upwards, scale, extrude again, scale in. Okay, so for this you can actually use inside if you want, but for me actually I'm more familiar with extrude lah. Okay, so next the last one is to extrude downwards. Okay, so this is your number 3, and number 2 is even simpler. So let's go back object mode, create a mesh for the cube. Then we're gonna move it over to say 10 and x is 1, so we'll bring it up. So we're gonna do some extrusion and then the bevel. So because yeah, so we'll do the basic shapes, which is the extrude first. Okay, extrude and then scale, then extrude downwards. Okay, then we're gonna do the beveling. So it's to select the edges again. So actually for all this, right, you can press 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you can see, you press 1, 2, 3, it changes. So I will use 2 for edge. Then I will select this edge. And I will be adventurous, I will select both. Okay. Okay, so basically that's how I get these shapes. And the very first one will be even simplest. So that will basically go back to object mode, create a new mesh and a new cube, and move this cube over to say 15 and up, oops, okay, and up Z by 1. Okay, so this will just be going to edit mode in the face by pressing 3, and we want to scale, we want to extrude first and then scale inwards, and then extrude again, then go downwards. Okay, right, so that's kind of how you create the 9 models very quickly. Okay, I'm not too sure how much time it take, but yeah, certainly it's not something difficult if you are familiar with how all these tools work. And sometimes it's kind of dependent on your creativities, right? And there's no one right way. Okay, you may do it differently, so you may use different keys or method, but in general that's the whole kind of idea of it. Oh. Okay, so that is kind of how you do the 9 different shapes in the first assignment. Okay, so yeah, so hope you have fun and learn something. Well, Blender is new to you, so it will take more time to get used to the controls and stuff. But other than that, keep practicing, have fun, and create cool stuff for your projects. Yeah. Okay, that's all. Thanks.